President Rouhani. Well, with me now, Amir Paivar from the BBC's Persian service. You heard the Iranian president, you heard President Obama, but Republicans in America are saying this whole agreement, it doesn't dismantle Iran's nuclear program, it maybe just postpones it. What is your analysis?
Well, it does put a serious cap on Iran's capability for developing a nuclear bomb, according to what most of the scientists and nuclear scientists, technicians who've been involved in this deal say. Now, the argument on the Republican side is, yes, that cap is there for 10 years, 15 years in sometimes. What if, when that cap is removed, Iran can immediately go back into doing what it was doing before this? Then, of course, the administration comes and says, look, in 10 years from now, Iran could be a different country. The opening up of the country, re-engaging with the world, trading with the world, will take this country out of cold from a prior state to a member of the international community, and the chances of Iran dashing to a bomb will be much lower than it was before.
And we hear all the time about the divisions within Iran between the hardliners, the hawks, and the moderates. And is it now the case then the moderates are fully in the ascendancy with this agreement?
They are, and it will also depend on the implications this will have on the Iranian economy, which are numerous. But at the same time, with the new sanctions imposed just a couple of hours ago on Iran, because of Iran testing those ballistic missiles, the hardliners will take that and run to the Iranian president and say, so is this what you achieved in a deal with America? Look, they're not trusted. Look, they've slapped more sanctions against us. Of course, technically, these sanctions, because they're not part of the nuclear deal, technically they will not violate the nuclear deal. Yet again, the hardliners will not go into those details. They'll be harsh on the Iranian president, and they'll try to tackle his attempts of getting closer to the West using those arguments.
But also, we've heard criticism of the agreement, not only from the Republicans we've talked about in America, but countries like Israel, very unhappy, perhaps not surprisingly, saying Iran is still a state sponsor of terrorism. Why is America making a deal with it?
Yes, there was a deal regarding Iran's nuclear program, but the United States has committed itself to continue putting pressure on Iran when it comes to allegations of terrorism and human rights, and also developing ballistic missiles. And as we saw just now, apparently Washington is serious about it. So we have seen the terrorism sanctions remaining in place, and Washington has said if it finds Iran being more ambitious with terrorist activities in the region, that it will bring in even more sanctions against those alleged of terrorism in Iran.
Okay, Amir Paivar, thank you very much indeed for being with us with your analysis. Now, let me just bring you some live pictures now coming to us, I think, from Geneva. And the Swiss government are now confirming that 3 of the US Iranian citizens who've been released in Iran as part of that overall agreement are due there, and I think on that plane that we're looking at in those live pictures from Geneva in Switzerland. So this was all part of the agreement. President Obama was talking about these prisoners being released, including a Washington Post journalist, and he was hailing that and saying that what good news it was that they were on their way home. The Swiss haven't actually confirmed this officially, but we're hearing this is the Swiss plane sent to Tehran to get these American Iranian citizens, and a medical team, we gather, on board, as well as a representative of the Swiss Foreign Ministry. The Swiss not actually confirming anything officially, but we're gathering this is the plane that's now landed in Geneva. And then from there in Geneva, those who've been released as part of this historic landmark agreement with Iran will travel on to Germany for any medical treatment that is needed. So this is all part of the prisoner swap in which 7 Iranians were released in the United States and 4 Americans in all released in Iran as part of that agreement with Iran on the nuclear agreement with Iran.